What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's going on with NIO stock, what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers, and also talk about why tomorrow is going to be another important day as we have the FOMC meeting coming up ahead of us. But before I begin to double this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed up to 15 free stocks, and the offer ends very soon. Anyways, now let's break down what's going on with NIO. NIO is down 5.7% as of right now. And despite the fact that this is selling off, I just want to call out something very important. The whole market is also selling off right now after we got Microsoft and Google's earnings. And we actually are seeing the share prices dropping after the reports have come out. Microsoft is down 2%, at least for now, trying to rebound a little bit. And then Google's also down quite a bit. It's down about 5.59%. This is dragging SPY down. So with that being said, the market might see some weakness tomorrow morning, and there's also some news that came out for Tesla involving Elon Musk and a judge decision. So all this bad news has been coming out. The market's going to likely drop a little bit, but then things could change depending on some more data. So I want to talk about what that data is and what's going on with tomorrow. So first and foremost, for right now, we have Microsoft, AMD, and Alphabet announcing their earnings. All of them are dropping in the after hours as of right now. Microsoft could change courses trying to bounce, but Google, of all things, is still looking relatively weak. And then besides that, I just want to mention that there's not really much coming out for tomorrow. We just have Boeing and just a couple of other earnings. But the bigger thing coming out is not going to be earnings for tomorrow, but the FOMC meeting. Because at 2 o'clock p.m., we have the interest rate hike decision coming out. And at 2:30 p.m. tomorrow, we have the Fed press conference when Jerome Powell is going to be giving his speech. So we'll be watching this very carefully. We'll see what Jerome Powell ends up saying, how he ends up affecting the markets, and why this is going to be very important. Jerome Powell is known for causing the markets to shake. So there's no telling what he's going to cause. We'll just have to wait and see what he says. That's going to be very, very important. Now, as far as NIO goes, what's going on with the news affecting NIO? NIO has reached a deal with a local firm for production of the SiC modules, basically. That's going to be very important for them. And this is a very important supplier for them. So that's the United Nova. So that's going to be a production supplier for NIO's first in-house developed 1200-volt modules, helping the EV maker in its leadership for much better platforms. This is going to be very good for their chip development. More powerful chips are necessary for NIO for its AI technology and its development. And you also want to be watching to see what else is going on with it. The number of chips required for the new energy, or the NEV, is nearly 2,000. And United Nova is committed to providing NIO with the full range of technology, products, and services, is basically what it said. Its current models are on sale based off the 400-volt platform, and they're working to develop those even more effectively. So higher voltages help them with energy performance, and once again, SiC chips is going to play a very important role in developing this. That's some good news for them. This is going to be a big development, and we'll watch and see how this affects NIO. That's a good piece of news, but we also had some more news that caused NIO to drop. The Chinese EV registrations have come out for week 4. BY did 43,000. Tesla did 12,800, and NIO did only about, excuse me, guys, I apologize, 3,300 of them, which is a little bit weaker than what we saw previously. So NIO is actually on the lower end of this compared to like Li Auto and just a couple of others. Looking at their numbers, we could see it actually down here. Relative to others, we actually saw some increases for like Tesla and a couple of others like BYD. But when it comes to NIO, I think we have NIO somewhere here. Let me just double check NIO's charts. NIOs were not looking the strongest compared to the others that I saw because they only saw about a little over 3,000. It's actually right here. This is the chart for NIO. NIO actually dropped when these numbers came out, despite the fact that it's up 73.68% from the week before. So the numbers were actually quite good for NIO, but the overall numbers for January show about 10,000 so far. They're still a little bit short of what some of the expectations could have been. The overall registrations for January at about 10,000 so far. And we'll see if NIO could still kind of meet many of their other goals. We'll just have to see how it goes. But if anything, I just want to make it clear that NIO is showing some improvement. 3,300 is not bad, and I'm still proud of NIO in that sense. Now, on top of this, NIO is also talking about their drive of the EL6 along the shore. That's also great for them, as this is showing good growth for them moving forward. 66 million was the volume, but NIO dropped pretty hard because of the registrations And on top of this, I just want to mention that the short volume is still a little bit low as NIO is seeing a little bit more buying pressure compared to before. Now, this could be shifting a little bit later once this updates, so it may have actually gone back up. So we'll have to see about that. Bank of America Securities downgraded NIO from a buy to neutral, and everything else is essentially the same. Now let's talk about the charts. Well, unfortunately, as the market is trying to drop, this could lead to more downside for NIO. NIO was trying to bounce and ended up rejecting off the 50 EMA. And on the daily time frame, it's still looking not the strongest. It was trying to bounce. We can see buyers were trying to defend it and ended up failing amidst these new registrations that came out. What's ironic though is the registrations data was not that bad. 3,300 in a week is not too bad, but NIO is still looking a little bit bearish on the daily time frame. Now, considering that Tesla is dropping pretty hard in the after hours, this could be a little bit negative for NIO, so you want to be very careful. We might see NIO attempt to rebound a bit to 5.85. We might be looking for a risk for even lower levels, all the way down to 5.5. NIO might see some downside, guys, so be very careful. SPY is looking like it's going to cool off tomorrow. It's actually dropping in the after hours thanks to Microsoft and the others. Let's just double check Microsoft right now. Microsoft is currently down, thanks to its earnings, about 2.4%. Google's down a little bit more. SPY might hit 488 tomorrow. We might even drop below this. If we keep sinking, 485 is going to be our next target on SPY, 45 to 486. There is a risk of more downside, so be a little bit careful if we lose 487.5. But be careful on SPY, guys. We're barely holding around the 20 EMA on the 4-hour time frame. With this bearish looking candlestick, there might be some downside, but then we might see this thing attempt to bounce. I would say later on, and we might just trade very sideways as we approach the FOMC meeting. So we'll just have to see what that causes. Tomorrow's going to be a big day with FOMC coming out, so we'll see what SPY does. It might start off very weak, trade sideways, then we'll just have to see what the FOMC meeting causes after that. Tesla's looking pretty weak as well after some new news came out from the courts involving Elon Musk. Tesla's tanking, so we might see this thing approaching 180 again. It has to hold 180. If we lose this, there's going to be a risk of more downside, so be very careful for all the Tesla investors out there. If we lose 180, a bigger drop is coming. We might see Tesla attempt to base around there and then trade sideways basically, and we'll have to see what happens after the FOMC meeting. For Apple is also sinking with the market. We're currently at 187. If you lose that, watch 186.5 then 185. We could be entering those supports and see some sideways price actions. We're still looking a little bit bearish. For the QQQ, we look kind of bearish right now. We're approaching that 420 area. If we lose that, there could be even more downside towards the lower levels, such as 418, 418 would be our next target if we lose 420, and 416. So be very careful on the triple Q, looking a little bit weak, barely holding on. Microsoft is playing a big role in causing this, so be very careful, guys. Nvidia is also sinking the after hours, so this could slow things down. We look a little bearish. We look a little bearish. We might sink a little lower. Then we'll have to see what the FOMC meeting causes. Same thing on Nvidia. We might be testing 600 again. If we lose 607, 602 is coming next. Nvidia is looking kind of weak on the 4 hours, so we'll be watching this as well. That's it for the main ones. All that's left now to be talking about is going to be how NIO does. NIO, in my opinion, it might get dragged down a bit. Could be approaching 5.5 as it looks kind of bearish, but let's see if the market bounces after the FOMC meeting. Does that help everything pump again? We'll be watching to see how things end up going. With that being said, thank you all so much for listening. Remain calm, cool, and collected, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you and peace out.